Is this recording? Hey guys, Hybrid here with a review of Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. Doesn't actually have 2 in the title. If you guys don't know, I work at the movies. So a work perk of that is, when we get movies early, usually we have like employee screenings and stuff. And if you don't believe me, here are my name tags right there. My clothes are being washed now because I have work in like 3 hours as of when I'm recording this. So I'm trying to get this out now and stuff before I have to go to work. And I'm working until 12:30. Yay. But anyways, the review of this, I'm going to try keeping it mildly spoilerish. Kind of spoilerish in a sense so that like you guys don't just be like, oh, this is BS, type of thing. But also, I'm not going to try spoiling the whole movie for you because then, like, what's the point? I'll probably have, I talked to CJ about it, we might have because he's coming up here to watch the movie when it comes out at midnight. So we might have a spoiler discussion that time period-ish. So this one's going to be mildly spoilerish, so you've had like a good minute to click out, and let's actually get to the actual review. And actually, I wrote this down, I scripted it, because I tried this beforehand, I couldn't like direct myself, kind of. But anyways, let's begin. So Captain America: The First Avenger was a film that received generally mixed reviews from fans, mainstream audiences, and critics alike. After the Avengers, Marvel has turned up the stakes much higher with Phase 2, going for more personal stories with our heroes. Among these is the introduction of the Winter Soldier into the MCU. Previously Cap's best friend Bucky Barnes from World War II days, who also possesses, as the Winter Soldier, super soldier abilities along with his cybernetic arm, which is awesome. And this movie actually surprised me by how far, it affects the rest of the MCU as a whole. It even affects Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And when among the Avengers members, among them to get a solo film, I did not initially, I wouldn't think that, oh, Captain America is going to be the tone setter. But, turns out his movie is. And I'll talk about the plot of it, I'll talk about the acting, characters, and obviously my overall thoughts. So, plot. Much of this movie is a throwback to the Cold War era political thrillers, which it captures the feel of as well, which is really good. They have Robert Redford as, I'm not going to spoil it, but he plays Alexander Pierce in this movie, and he was very, he was casted in a lot of political thrillers, and so it's pretty cool he's in it. If you're a movie fan, at least you'd know that. But it really captures the feel of them, and after the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D. has greatly expanded its power and reach. You really see that in this movie. After the events of the Avengers, they pretty much have free reign to do almost whatever they want. Now, this, accompanied with their actions, serve as kind of the moral conflict for Captain America, as the trailers have kind of hinted at. And the Winter Soldier, though, the only sad thing about the Winter Soldier is that his Soviet Union, Russian, super soldier ties that he's usually known for is kind of replaced with Hydra instead. So take that as you would. But anyways, Nick Fury does fake his death, and he does that in comics all the time. But he goes underground with Maria Hill after Hydra pretty much comes out in full force. This is probably one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, because it really allows Captain America to do what he does best, essentially, which is lead and be a leader. So he really does lead, and Nick Fury has this quote where he's like, "I guess you're in charge now," and that really does set the tone for the rest of the film, because at that moment, once Nick Fury kind of goes incognito, so to speak, Captain America is essentially leading everybody. There's no more Nick Fury leading, because the only problem with Nick Fury being in the film is that as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., he's naturally, and technically he'd be above Cap to a degree, and he's leading everybody. He's telling everybody what to do. Cap isn't that type of hero. Cap's more of the hero that, he's the leader, he tells you what to do kind of thing. So that's pretty cool, and we really get to see the major strength Captain America has in strategy and tactics around this part of the movie. Also, there's many nods to the first Avenger, such as, his first dance, or not first, his dance with Peggy Carter. She's in the movie, briefly. And we get a little bit more, like, backstory with Howard Stark, his involvement with S.H.I.E.L.D., Hydra kind of maybe killing him, maybe not killing him. So that's pretty cool. Alexander Pierce is revealed to be the main antagonist. I see this kind of, like, is a thing for me, because I don't think anyone was surprised by it. The MCU so far has it's really been priding itself on big twists, where, this person that's, thought to be the big villain, who's, Ben Kingsley's Mandarin in Iron Man 3, it's Malekith actually was the villain, so that wasn't a twist there. But you know, like in this one, Winter Soldier is said to be the big villain. It's not. It's Alexander Pierce. Sorry. So kind of doesn't surprise you, but it is executed very well. But the film story ends with essentially Shield stripped of its it's stripped to its essentials pretty much, which does set up well for I think Age of Ultron, and also helps bring Shield to a much more manageable organization instead of this ominous big brother that's been in the MCU lately, especially with like Agents of Shield. It seems like they just can do whatever they want. So, and by the way, Hydra has been basically secretly running Shield this whole time. Now, acting. Every actor in this film fits the role like a perfectly molded glove. The cast shows great chemistry and timing with each other, which really helps with the comedy in this movie, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. And returning actors keep reminding audiences that they are essentially the definitive character or actor for that role. While new actors like Anthony Mackie to the franchise, for example, they show that they can share the screen with another actor like like Chris Evans as Captain America, and it feels organic. It doesn't feel like this amateur actor with an actor already well into his performance. None of that. Everything feels great. So I think great casting and great actors. Obviously, great acting. Everything seems well together, together well, I should say. Now, characters. Captain America really shows off his abilities in this film. If anyone ever debated how strong Captain America was, fast he is, durable, smart, or his fighting ability, you're gonna be answered all the way across the board in this movie. He has some really great fight choreography, especially with the Winter Soldier, who's a monster. I'll get to him in a little bit. But also his strength, he's just kicking people across rooms. We see it in one of the clips that they released, but he just goes through buildings. And also when he's jumping across helicarriers. I don't want to spoil it, but it's pretty cool. His character's morals and traditional values on freedom and who the bad guys are contrasts very well actually with the rest of the characters in the modern community, and that doesn't help the character develop like Thor did where Thor he kind of changed a little bit. Instead, Captain America's kind of the same person, but instead he really develops in himself, and I think that's very good. I appreciate that just as much as Thor developed on the outside. Now, Black Widow is his main partner. They kind of have some romantic seeds in there that can blossom to something more or cannot. But she blends in with Captain America very well while not feeling just there, kind of War Machine, Iron Patriot, James Rhodes, and Iron Man 2 and 3 kind of just felt there and kind of felt like a sidekick, while Black Widow feels more of a partner. I really do like that more. She also has a pretty cool fight choreography and action sequences, very well done there with the stunt crew. Now, I really liked how they did it because it really showed why she'd be able to be with people like Captain America in the field. It shows her skills as Black Widow, and also they do hint a little bit at her history, which is said to be explored more in Avengers 2. Now, about my favorite person in this movie, the Winter Soldier. He is the best villain the MCU has had since Loki and Aldrich Killian. I say Loki and I say Aldrich Killian because most people agree with Loki, but I say Aldrich Killian because if you think about Aldrich Killian, he was genius. His whole terrorist plot, it's brilliant. Take away how you feel about the whole Mandarin twist, but his plan is actually really smart. The Winter Soldier is an amazing villain along those lines. He demands the screen every time he's in it. He kills literally anyone in his way. The amount of people that died because of the Winter Soldier in this movie is it's massive. I say more than people Thor has seen killed in battle, more than people Iron Man has killed. In all of their movies combined, Winter Soldier just kills a lot of people in this movie. It's ridiculous. But yeah, basically he's kind of implanted with commands for his missions, goals and stuff to do, while also sporting his cybernetic arm. So it's not it's kind of brainwashing, but it's a twist to the brainwashing where it's not just someone's hypnotizing him or something like that. So he's treated with a lot of respect to his comic book version, though. I was quite surprised. He actually probably is the deadliest character currently in the MCU, I'd say right now. He doesn't die in the movie, which is awesome, but it's heavily alluded to that he might join Captain America in Captain America 3, especially because there's some shots of him with the shield and just some things later. I'm not going to go some moments in the film later on, especially in the end, where it just kind of seems like he's coming back to himself, so to speak. But yeah, the Falcon's also in this movie. He's well developed from his introduction to the movie. I really enjoyed how they did it. You know, kind of that conversation him and Cap were having in the beginning of the movie. It just felt really natural. It didn't feel like, you know, this guy is this. You know, they talked just like any two strangers would talk when they first introduced or are introduced to each other, which was really good because once the plot of this movie kicks off, we don't have time to like go into character backstories like the Falcon's history and stuff. So I did enjoy how they did it. When the stuff about the Falcons, you know, like that emerged out, it felt really like natural. It didn't feel like all of a sudden, hey, he's the Falcon, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, he has some really cool aerial fight scenes and, you know, with the Quinjets and stuff. And also, I'd say he's the most lighthearted and comedic member of, you know, Cap's allies in this movie. And I know there's other characters in the film, but I'm not going to get to them just for the sake of the time in this review, like Crossbones and stuff. Something happens to him, by the way, which, you know, makes him a lot more crossbone-ish. That's all I'm going to say. And obviously, Alexander Pierce, he's the bad guy. Secretly, he is revealed to be the main baddie. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it. Now, my overall thoughts, though, is probably the chunkiest part of the review. Captain America the Winter Soldier is the strongest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie they ever made. It delivers a thrilling movie that fits the character well, while also giving a personal story that will help the audience connect with Captain America. I really did appreciate that, because he is one of the hardest characters to connect with on a personal basis, just due to the fact that he is the man at a time. Inside. Doesn't matter if you're so human outside, it's really inside. If Superman taught us anything. But the special effects are solid, with only like one or two scenes I noticed it kind of looked odd. You probably won't notice that in your first time seeing the movie, though. That was just me being a little bit picky and kind of critiquish. Now, the sense of history in this universe really helps elevate, you know, some of the scenes between characters like Alexander Pierce and Nick Fury. And by that I mean just like how the continuity has been. You really get a sense that, you know, some of these characters have been around for a long time and do have history. And obviously that helps with Captain America because he was in World War II. Now, the Russo brothers, while being best known for their comedy works, have arguably made the most serious MCU film since Iron Man. And I'm serious about that. Like, the comedy in this movie is present, but it's not forced out in jokes like Iron Man 3, and instead it comes really natural from characters' actions and how they converse with each other like you would talk to a friend. Because when you're talking to a friend, you don't want to be really boring and dull. Like, you might be a little bit comedic and stuff. You might say a little joke. That's present in this movie. It feels really good. Like, stuff like when Cap, you know, takes out his to-do list. That's really funny. And it's not funny because, you know, it's his to-do list. It's funny because of what's on there and how true it is. And, you know, it's kind of funny that, like, man at a time dynamic in that sense. Now, this is also probably due to how good the chemistry is between the cast members. The timing, like I mentioned earlier, is just right spot on. It really shows in there when they're talking to each other and stuff. Now, you definitely feel the build-up to Avengers Age of Ultron in this movie by the third act. And also, this movie does give more depth into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., especially the origin of the team. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I really did appreciate that because I was kind of like, are they going to leave out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are they going to mention Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? But yeah, I do appreciate what they did with that. Now, besides a few changes to the character's history, like, you know, Winter Soldier with Russia and Soviet Union, this film has a lot of fan service and Easter eggs. I'm not going to go into all of them because this review is going a little bit over what I wanted it to be anyways. But the end credit scene, I will talk about that really briefly with Von Strucker, is true. He has the twins, them being Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, in containment cells, and he calls them miracles and like the new age of miracles. We see Quicksilver's speed and Scarlet Witch's telekinesis. Von Strucker is revealed basically he's like immortal, and he's also a founding member of Hydra. He kind of is talking to somebody else in the after scene credits about how Hydra has grown. We also learn that, you know, Hydra's been basically controlling S.H.I.E.L.D. this whole time. And Von Strucker reveals that he has, or doesn't reveal, but it's revealed there that, you know, Von Strucker has Loki's scepter, which is believed to be the mind gem, which presumably will be used to manipulate the twins against the Avengers in Age of Ultron. So I like how they did that there. Good continuity and stuff like that. Because S.H.I.E.L.D. did have Loki's scepter, technically. So, anyways, we also see Arnim Zola. He's kind of a creepy AI-like figure, akin to his comic book counterpart. And overall, this movie is just a very strong lead into, you know, what's to come with Age of Ultron, the MCU. And I highly recommend you guys see this. I'm not going to give it like a 1 to 10 grading scale. But I'd say for me personally, as a film, I like this much better than Avengers. Obviously, as like fan nerdage, I like Avengers more because it's Avengers, you know, like, whoo. But yeah, this movie is very strong. A lot of people have asked me, you know, compared to the Nolan films, what would this be? This would be the Dark Knight of, I'd say, the Captain America movies, obviously, I guess. But this would be the Dark Knight of the MCU. Out of all the Phase 2 movies, this is arguably the best. Like I said, it's probably out of the solo films, it's probably this and Iron Man are my favorite ones. Arguably, like, no contest with the other ones, really. So yeah, please comment, subscribe, like, and if you have any other questions, try being as spoiler-free as possible, because I know some people are going to click the video, and they're going to see a bunch of spoilers in the comments, they're going to get upset, even though it's going to say spoiler in it, but you don't know. But anyways, this is Hybrid. Subscribe, comment, and like. I'll see you guys later.